Hello everyone, it's Tonya with Scribbles in Time. I'm going to do a flip through today of my latest journal, and it is long overdue. I am so apologetic that I have been absent for so long. It feels like, I don't know how long it's been since my last video, but it feels like it has been like 2 or 3 months. So anyway, I'm back. I've never really gone anywhere. I just haven't filmed any videos. I did pick up a little side job, which is kind of humorous. I'm not a decorator or designer or anything like that by trade. Like, I'm a licensed dental hygienist. And yeah, the thing is, I love to decorate. And I picked up this little side job where I am decorating 3 medical offices. So it is a lot. It is a total of 52 rooms. Let's see, 12 bathrooms, 3 lobbies, and I think 8 hallways. Anyway, plus break rooms. Anyway, my point is, I have been so busy. So I apologize for my absence. I have been working a lot on journals. I've been doing a lot of journaling myself, working through some things in my life. And I created this journal. I have posted a picture of this one on my Instagram. If you follow me on Instagram, if you don't, please check me out if you have an Instagram. And yeah, let's go ahead and do this flip through. So I named this journal Remember Me. And it's because of the little special things that I put into the journal. It just had some significance in my life. And I did not do my typical style where I get a bowl of stuff and put like things in a bowl that are specific for the journal. Instead, with this one, I kind of just went in there to my workroom with a challenge of using things that were on my desk, which usually are leftover things from other journals and that kind of thing. So I kind of created a challenge for myself while I was working on this. I just wanted to use stuff that was on my desk. And what does that do? That turns this into a very eclectic style, because I don't have like a bowl of themed items that I'm working from. I'm just literally pulling things off my desk. So this is a very eclectic journal. It's very big. It is so full. I have absolutely filled this journal up. I did leave some spaces and opportunities for someone to fill it with their own personality. It is currently listed in my Etsy shop. I did have a couple of people that had requested a journal of this old style that I used to make. And so I have started back trying to create this style of journals again. So yeah, this is the first one I've created in quite a while. And let me know what you think. I hope you like it. And let's start with the flip through. So the journal measures, it's hard to measure this style because stuff pokes out and everything, but it is somewhere like the hard part of the journal here. We're at like 7, maybe 7¼ inches. But with all of the little embellishments and stuff that's poking out, I'm going with 8 because of the stuff poking out. The length of the journal, because of this little metal tab up here, I'm going to start with that. I'm going to try to take my camera out just a hair. Let's see. Sorry. There we go. Yeah, so we're probably somewhere around like 10½ inches with all the stuff, but for the hard part of the journal, we're at about 9½. The spine looks like that. If I remember correctly, I think I went with a 2½ inch spine, maybe 2.75 inch spine. But then when you start adding all this stuff that's poking out on the cover, it's around 5 inches, something like that. Let's see. A lot of writing space in this, blank writing space, but the art pages, the center that I normally do as like the art book of my journals, is pretty full. So on the cover, I did a beautiful hummingbird pendant. I don't even know what you call. It's just a big pendant. It was for a necklace. And so I attached this little piece of like yarn on the top of the pendant hanger. And I wrapped that with some gold tone wire just to kind of accent the top there. the hummingbird here, and then this grungy fabric behind it, and I have stitched that on through the top cover here with some leather cord, and I just went around and stitched it like that just to accent and pull the look of this leather up. And then, so let's go ahead and talk about this leather underneath it. This book has, if you look, you'll see that there's a total of 4 covers that you're seeing when you're looking at the top of the book. There's 4 book covers. So there's one here of a journal that's poking out, and then here's a cover, and a cover, and then the centerpiece. And I went through all of the covers with these little hitch posts that have like a screw-on back. I don't know the technical name of these. But they're posts that go all the way through and then have a screw on back. So I'll show you the back of that as we open the journal up. But once I did that, I kind of did a little gold tone. Let me see if the light will catch it. Like some gold tone, not rub on. It's been a long time since I filmed, y'all. And when I film, my brain shuts off. I lose words. I don't know. I don't feel nervous, but I just lose my words. I probably do that all the time. I just notice it more when the camera's rolling. But I used pieces of this leather that was peeling off of this book cover throughout to kind of tuck in and accent and draw the eye over. And this book cover here is from the 1700s. If I remember correctly, I think it was 1760s. And I only had like the cover and then a couple of pages that were stuck to the inside of the cover to reference for that. And then this journal here is from the early 1800s, same situation, but you'll see that they are so raggedy, falling apart. I love that. I say it all the time in my videos. I love things that their age shows their personality, and I think we should embrace that. We all are either going to get older or we're not going to get older, but as we get older, you have to embrace the imperfections that come with it. I'm not saying you have to accept it. I'm going to fight my aging as much as I can with as much power as I can. But the graceful part of aging is to embrace the imperfections, and I love that. So I love seeing things that show personality through the wear and tear of what they meaning the book covers, have gone through in their life. How crazy am I sounding? Woo! Hopefully y'all relate enough that y'all understand what I'm saying. Okay, up here. So part of this decorating job that I'm doing, I have framed so many pictures. I can't even tell you how many pictures. Like my fingers were raw one day from just sitting and framing picture after picture after picture. Well, some of the frames that I bought had easels on the back, and I didn't need the easels, so I would pop those off. Well, you know, junk journalers, we're always going to look at everything to see if there's anything we can use. On the back of the easels, when you remove those from a frame, they have these hinges. And I just love the way these hinges look. I have a ton of them now, thanks to this little job I'm doing. But yeah, the wood from the backboard of the frame is actually stuck there. Love it, love it, love it. And then I put a little bit of gesso and bent these little pieces of metal down so that they wouldn't be so jagged and pointed, and use that on the top like a tab. And I just love the way it looks. I plan on using those a lot. And then over here, there's some a piece of cloth. I want to think that this came off of one of the books, like from the where the spine was attached, but I can't remember because, again, it was laying on my desk. And then grunged up the front, hanging off of this little centerpiece here is some really beautiful lace. And then this is just some strips of fabric that I braided and then wrapped almost like one of those braided rugs underneath this and had it poking out. And then I attached this little bead, like a hemp cord or maybe macrame cord with a bead on it right there. And I just had that kind of whimsical piece hanging off there. And then over here is this beautiful, it looks like a dried rose with like a glossy overlay on it. And it is just beautiful. I'm hoping the camera's going to pick that up. And then these little gold tone butterflies. There's 3 of those hanging off. And then this little piece of beautiful vintage trim here that has this gold tone accent. So yeah, I've tried to pull little specks of gold throughout using that. Again, I'm not going to come up with the word. I thought I could trick my brain and just kind of say it and it would just come out, but it didn't. Anyway, woo. It's also very early, and last night was a migraine night. So my first migraine in a few weeks. I think it might be from getting my flu vaccination. I think it just kind of ran me down a little bit. The spine is a snippet that is a cluster of crocheted material with laces and little those appliques. I don't know. Fun times, guys. And then I use this stick along the edge here. Oh, before I forget, let me say Dee over at the paper drawer made this. I don't think she sells them. I've tried so many times to encourage her to sell these because she's so good at making them, but she doesn't sell them. But she made that. But do check her shop out. She has some really unique stuff, and her YouTube channel as well. I'll try to put the link below. And yeah, I think that kind of covers the cover other than the stick. I was just starting to tell you about the stick. So I attached the stick here, and then I used these ropes. These ropes came from, I found this military guy that sold like old vintage military stuff. And there's a long story to that, how I stumbled across him. But anyway, he had these old ropes, I think from World War II. And gosh, I want to think he called them tent rope. I don't know if they used them for like securing tents. I don't really know, but you can see how there's like little stitches in the ropes, and they're grungy. They're old, but you can see the little stitching in the rope. I hope you can see it anyway. It's just cool. In person, it's those little things like that your eye catches, and it's just little details. And I love that, because when you're dealing with something that's so eclectic, I love just finding the little details about it. Okay, the base of the front here is actually the back cover of this book, and this book I love. So it's called The Old Peabody Pew, and I always wish that I was the type of person, maybe when I was younger, I loved to read. I still love to read. My issue is now I'm old and I fall asleep. I don't know what's wrong with me. If I sit down, I fall asleep. I just don't ever sit down throughout the day. I'm somebody that just kind of stays up and busy. But if I sit down to try to read, I'm like 3 pages into a book and I'm out. I guess it just tires my eyes out, or I get relaxed reading, but it doesn't work for me. But my point is, I wish that I was like I was when I was young, because all of these old books, I would just seriously take the time and read them. I bet there's such good stories there. But I love history, and I love that kind of thing. There's more of those stitches. Anyway, The Old Peabody Pew. So when I researched this book, it's from 1907. They are very pricey if you research the book online, and you know how that goes. Sometimes you can, like I think like through thrift books, I saw it for like $25, but there are some people that have them listed really, really high. But this one was so dirty and grungy and tattered. You can see the little tear there, and the spine was already had fallen off. And so I let it go. I went ahead and used this book cover. But if you'll see, there's like little holly leaves and holly berries. And my intentions had originally been to make like a very unique Christmas journal using this cover. But I just wanted to use it for this journal. If you'll see these people sitting across here, they're just beautiful. I love the artwork on this cover. The insides of the cover, I pretty much left as they were. Again, my whole goal with this was to have that eclectic, grungy feel. And so you'll see there's holly leaves and little like Christmas bells going across the top. So I left the inside covers as they were. I did tear off on the front. I think it was the front. Yeah. On the front, I did tear off some kind of little thing, and I put it in here. But I didn't want to block it with this. And then on the back, whatever had been here was torn off. I don't know what it was. It almost looks like it was probably some type of library card or something. Okay, I think we've adequate. There's the top view, there's the side view, and the bottom view, and the spine, and you already saw the back. So I did put these little gold, it looks like almost melted gold metal that are little buttons. I did use those there just for looks. The rope is actually stitched through all of the covers. So on the back it's just the one cover, but on the front I went through a couple of covers to stitch those on. And real quick, before I open it, I want to go ahead and talk about some of the things that you see from the outside, because through the center of the signatures there are different little charms and things hanging. There's a cross there. And that way, as I'm flipping through, I know I often reference things that you see from the outside of the journal, and it's a lot of opening and closing to show that. So maybe if I kind of show it up front, you'll get the drift. Isn't that beautiful? It's a pretty flower that's pressed in there, and it's got like this gold toned dipped. It almost looks like dipped gold, but it's just so pretty to me. Anyway, yeah, so you'll see the stuff that's showing from the outside. And let's go ahead and flip in. When you open the journal up, there is a little writing journal here, and I've hinged most of the pages. Like, I try to at least hinge every few pages. That buys you time. Like, I use different tapes, washi tapes. There's masking tape there. That probably isn't showing up very good, but you can see it in person. But anyway, my thoughts behind that is I like to use tape because that way it's hard to remove it. But if you're writing in this journal, most of the time with tape, you can write over the tape, depending on what type of pen you're using. But yeah, my other thought process is if the pages start to tear out, that buys you just enough time to get some tape of your own and add tape to hinge the page back in. So that's my thought process behind that. I do journal a lot in this type of books. And yeah, that's my thought process. When you go all the way back to the back of this journal, you can see the little prongs there from that post that screws in. Let me hold it up so you can see. So those are the little Phillips head style screws that go into the back of those posts that are going through all the covers. Okay. And then this little journal has like 40 pages. It's like 42 if you count these little end pages. So I put in the listing that it's approximately 40 pages. And this paper does have the little dots. I don't know if you can see that, but that just helps you when you're writing to keep your lines straight. Okay. Where the ropes are stitched in on the front cover, I come in on the back and attached buttons like I like to do. And on this button, there's this crochet flower behind the button. And then there is this glass green, I forget what you call that shape, but it's this glass bead. And it also has that gold dipped effect. Let me see if I can see. It has like that gold tone around it as if it's been dipped in gold. And then this little white flower with kind of a gold metal on the back. So that way it's pretty whether it's that way or flipped around to the white side. From the bottom one are the two charms that are showing from the front of the journal. The pom-pom and the flower. And then the little shell button. And then right here I call these bird's nest. So I came up with this idea quite a while back, and I've gotten to where I love to use this in journals. I call them bird's nests because you can just kind of tuck things in there to hold for later. Here's an old vintage recipe, just some grunged up pieces. Things like this I love to use as tabs on pages, but I thought over here, if somebody does eventually journal in this, they can then go in and use some of these things as tabs on these pages. Here's an old photograph you can use in there. So yeah, my idea with this was to kind of stick things in here that could be used in this if the person, if anybody purchases this and the person wants to do that. So I've just kind of tucked in little accent pieces throughout here. This one's actually attached to that paper, but if you wanted to use this, you literally would just tear this off, paper and all, just tear the paper and then attach it over here as a tab. And that's part of the beauty of this type of junk journal, in my opinion, is because you can tear and remove anything. Like if you write something and you mess up on your line and it just doesn't look right to you, tear the page off. You know, you flip it over and glue it back down and do a different version. It doesn't matter. That's the beauty of something that's eclectic and just kind of grungy already, is you can make boo-boos and then just hide your boo-boos. And that's just a little, like a flashcard. The first signature is this piece of grungy paper. And then this was a bunch of little pieces that was just literally on my desk. And so I just picked them up and stitched them all together. Just did some hand stitching and went through and stitched it all together. I did a little loop right there and used it as a tab. I don't know why. I thought it looked cool and did that. The back is more writing surface. This page here, you'll see that it is the front. And I really think that this might be the front page of this book, because usually before I attach these covers, anything I can salvage that's on the back side of the cover, I salvage it, and I'm pretty sure it came off of this one. I'm not 100% positive, but I think so. But you can see where somebody had went in and reinforced it to the cover with old tape. And so I just left that on there. I thought it was pretty as it was. This is some beautiful, beautiful, delicate lace. And I just kind of wrapped it around some of the pages. This I'm calling graph paper. I don't know what you call this, but I'm going to call it graph paper because that's the way I am. And then there's this beautiful piece, and it has like these little blue rosebuds. It almost has that baby's breath look to it to me. I love it. And I just ran it down as trim on the edge of this page. I just thought it looked so pretty with those colors. I've said before that to me, part of the beauty when you're working on something like this is not to look at a specific page, but to look at the entire layout. So I just love that this blue kind of pulled some of the blue shades, and then it has the green that pulls the green shades, and then all of that against this kind of a pinky, pink red look. I love to look at the entirety and not just the individual page. All right, I did double up these pages so that it was on both sides. So this does feel a little bit thicker than a normal piece of paper. You can almost feel the crunchiness of the glue in between the pages because I did glue 2 pages together. And then I also love and encourage you to, when you look through a journal, find places to add, like challenge yourself literally to just add stuff in. And that's kind of what I did with my desk. And when I do a bowl even, I always try to challenge myself to use everything. So when I'm done and I look down and I have stuff left over, I try to go back through the journal and just add stuff wherever I can challenge myself to find a spot. So like the reason I bring that up is because like this music paper has the holes coming down the edge. So I just literally picked up a piece of the twine that was laying on my desk from where I did something else and then had a piece left over and just snipped it off. I always throw those in a pile and they stay there until I clean up my desk, which is rare. And so I pulled that twine and just kind of ran it through the holes there. Do pay attention to these little circles. So I've stamped these little circles very messy, very haphazardly throughout the journal. And there is a reason I want you to kind of pay attention to it. I'll show you in just a moment. And then this book page I got from someone, and they did the staining on it. And I don't remember who it was. I'm sure it came with something I purchased. And I don't even know what language that is. I don't know. I was just going to say German, but I don't know. I wish I was multilingual, and I'm not. I'm barely unolingual. Did you hear what I did there? Okay. I did a wooden ruler down the edge of this page, and I have just grunged it up. This is an 8-inch ruler, and I just grunged it up. I do love having rulers in the journals or tape measure or measuring cloths or whatever, because sometimes when you are doing something and you want to see if it's going to fit, like on one of the smaller pages, you can literally be doing something and kind of hold it up to your ruler for a point of reference. So I do love that. This particular page, so there's a lot of multimedia paper as the base of this section. You'll notice I should point out that I do hinge my pages with either paper, but when it's the mixed media paper, I do like fabric. And that's just to help reinforce the paper in case you are doing like watercoloring and the water seeps down. I don't want the creases of the paper to get compromised and cause issues, even though if it were to, go in and add tape. Just, you know, that's again the beauty. But I do line the pages on the folds with fabric to help hold it together and reinforce the fold. On this page, it is mixed media paper also. And up here, there's just a little piece of that ruffle paper. I think Dee made this one for me. And I've just run a piece down the top. And then this is a, I call it my angel wings, but it's made up of white feathers. And I just think it's so beautiful. It's so soft to the touch. I love these. Anyway, I did make it as a tuck spot. So I lined the back of it with real thin, how about said chipboard? It's not. It's like, it is thicker than cardstock, but it's just a very thin cardboard. I lined the back of it to create a little tuck spot. I had this tucked in the bird's nest, and then I kind of pulled it over here and used it to tuck behind the feathers just to remind myself to show you that it's a tuck spot. And then back here's a little piece of a vintage page out of a map book. And I liked it because that little piece of blue pulls against this blue of this, which we'll talk about now. So as you flip this page, you'll see that over here is one of those watch crystal envelopes. The watch crystal is still inside. And I've stapled it on with some of the rust staples from Kathy over at Rust Paper Scissors. And then this is just a rusty paper clip that I think I got from Dee. And then this little envelope. And I love, love, love these things. I think I have some of them in my Etsy shop. I do have a lot of these. So if you're interested in any, please just let me know. But there might be some in my Etsy shop. If there's not, there should be. But here's what I love. So when you put them on the edge of a page, I love the way the number shows like a tab on the journal. And the colors are just dull enough that they're not overpowering anything. But yet it is that very slight hint of that, like a robin's egg blue, and I love it. This is the piece of a packaging of something, but it had the cellophane window, so I use that as a peekaboo opportunity. I put a burlap bow on the top of this page, and then, oh, and I put the paper clip here to keep that closed to hold that little watch crystal inside the envelope, because whoever gets it, those are so cool to use the little crystal over like a letter. If somebody purchases this and say their name starts with, I don't know, say it starts with an L, they could put that little watch crystal over that L just as a little secret little clue to themselves that it's theirs. I don't know. I'm weird. I tied a piece of this beautiful vintage trim in the center of the signature with my leftover cord. I just tied it up. And that just adds a little accent there. And then over here, the girl, I just think was so beautiful against this blue. And when you look through the peekaboo hole here, you'll see that there's 3 children like singing, like choir children. And there we go. I think you can see it now. And then because this little girl's placed right here, when you flip, and the feathers I kind of overlapped onto this corner down here. And then when you flip the page, that girl shows through the window. And I just think it's so pretty. And then these are pieces of paper that I tore off the under parts of these covers. Because like I said earlier, I try to tear off everything that I can salvage from the under parts of these covers before they're forever hidden. But I love giving this type of stuff new life and helping it to, I mean, this is from the 1700s, guys. It's going on 200 years old. No. Wow. Woohoo, my math. I used to call myself good at math. Okay, this could be, I don't know what year in the 1700s, but it could be going on 300 years old. Okay, Tonya, let's move forward. Another one of the little round stamps. Again, I just kind of glued on that piece of paper there. It can be gessoed over, whatever. There's the picture of the little kids. And then this is a collage I did with a metal, like a decoration thing off of like a wreath or something, but it was a metal something. And there was a bird with it, and the bird is going to be farther back, but this is metal, and I just did a little collage with this pretty fabric, another piece of the twine I just kind of stitched on, did a knot right there. Uh-oh, my clocks are fixing to all go off, sorry. And then I just did some wonky stitching all around it, and a little piece of trim there. But the reason I had wanted you to watch for these circles is because inside of this bag I included, I love these so much, is a little stamp. It's a Japanese stamp. I don't even know if that's upside down, sideways, or what, because I don't know. But these are little stamps, and I'm including one of my little stamps in that bag right there. And that's that. And when you flip the page, the back side, I just glued another little piece of thing off my desk. And again, if this is something you want to paint, you can literally gesso over this. I left it very blank. Here's the other side of that piece of paper. And then I hinged a envelope, a grunged up envelope, onto that and made like a page with that. And then I used these flaps and attached this little ticket thingy to make a belly band. And I'm going to take the bulldog clip off, but see, that is a belly band there, like that. And then I love the little letter poking out on this envelope, so I pulled the postcard over just enough, and I clipped it on with a rusty bulldog clip so that that shows, but yet the boy shows also. So these, I have 2 of these different styles of these postcards included in this journal. And I love the lily of the valleys back here, or at least that's what I'm calling them. I don't know flowers, so I know flowers about as well as I know fabrics and stitches, but I just know what I like. So there's the back of it, and I don't know if there's something on there that you might can research to find out where to find these, but I have a stash of these in several different prints, and I keep saying I'm going to list them on my Etsy shop. I just have not gotten around to it, but we're going to clip that back on and turn the page. This is music paper, and I put one of the pages is very thin and brittle, so I just glued it down there to that music paper. And I think it was from one of these books also. And this is the other side of what I'm calling graph paper, and then that beautiful lace fabric. This is a like a cardstock piece of paper that was like the front of some type of ephemera booklet, and I don't remember now what, but I put it in here as a page because I just love the way it looks. And I ran this vintage trim down it. I say that's vintage. I don't even know if that's vintage. I think it is, but that's one I shouldn't have said vintage because I really don't know. I don't remember. I try to be accurate when I say anything like that. So in between the signature, so here's the back part of that, and then the other side of that grungy paper that was at the beginning. And then you can see the fabric in between the signatures. This is a table doily or placemat maybe. And then this is some of the mixed media paper. And I just did, so a lot of times when I go through to grunge up my papers like that, I start trying to then look for images in the chaos. I start trying to find, like, that could be worked out to look like a mountain with snow on the top. But I try to find images within it, and then I try to just build on the images. And for some reason, the way this one turned out, I don't know, I made little trees with mountains and hills. And up here, that's not a great rendition of Jesus, but in my mind's eye, that's what I wanted, was Jesus on the cross as our Savior, and he's looking down over the land with the trees and everything. And then I put no greater love up here. And again, this is just kind of my style. This is what I do, but if somebody were to purchase this and they don't want this in here, they can gesso over it or tear it out and use it as a tab for something, or glue a collage over it. I just went ahead and left it like it was, just in case somebody else enjoyed that like I enjoyed making it, but that's me. Okay, see on this side, there's another example. You're not going to be able to see this because of the light, but right here, my eye immediately went right there to this little piece that looks like a butterfly. I could see myself turning that into a butterfly and doing some, I don't know if the camera's even going to pick that up, but I love, it's almost like looking into the clouds and finding images. I love doing this and then looking into it and trying to capture an image. And I don't know why. But anyway, this is that piece I said earlier that I tore off of the front so that I wouldn't have to cover it up. And I just left it as is so that if somebody wants to attach it in here, they can, or they can use it in something different. But yeah, you can see it says 63 there. So I'm guessing this must have been in the library around the 1963s. But it was from that book from 1907, the Peabody Pew, the old Peabody Pew. This is a collage that's done on a piece of like a soft book cover on the back. And I just went ahead and clipped that to the top with a little clip there. And then this is some grungy paper, some lined paper. This is the like the title page out of a journal, like a writing journal, a blank writing journal that I used. And I just ran some brown polka dot fabric down the side. There's that little round stamp there. I pulled out some of my upholstery trim. I have so much upholstery trim, and I start to forget that I have it. So I pulled it out and used some of it in this journal. And I have a ton of this stuff in all different colors, but I love the look of pom-poms. Pom-poms just are so whimsical to me, and you'll see they're all over this journal. This, I think, is a cutout of, it is definitely a cutout of wallpaper, and it looks like an old ad. And if I remember correctly, I think this came from Pam. Tattered Paper and Lace is her Etsy shop and YouTube. But Pam had the coolest, and I don't even know if she still has any, but she fussy cut wallpaper down to the size of these little ads like this and did up these homemade little packets of wallpaper pieces. And they were so inexpensive, so cool, and they are just so neat to use in collages. They have enough sturdiness to them to use in collages. I love them. So anyway, you'll have to check her out. I'll try to put her link below as well. This, I just tied a piece of like crochet into the center of this signature, and that's where the hearts. So now is where the video is going to go south really fast. I completely finished, you might notice there's a break right here. I completely finished the flip through, but somewhere along this point right here, my phone is, the little mount that I use for filming is on my phone, and I always have to be careful not to have the clip where my power thing is, my power button on my phone, because if I do something and it causes it to shift at all, it will turn my phone off. And I learned that early on, but because I have not filmed a video in so long, oh boy, I made that little that little mistake, and my phone powered off somewhere in this area. So I'm having to refilm the end of this video. I'm gonna kind of go forward with it from this spot, but just know that I'm kind of thrown off now because I can't remember what all. I might say something and think I'm repeating it because I've already gone through all of this part. If you film videos, you know what I'm talking about. So this pouch right here, I made this like at 1 o'clock in the morning, night before last. I had insomnia. I battle insomnia a lot, but anyway, so I was up and I was going to attach just this somewhere on the edge of the journal just for personality. I thought about opening this up and like putting a picture in the center and doing it like a frame. And I might, because I do have more of these, so I might do that on another journal down the road. But I went ahead and made this little purse thing, which I don't sew. I'm not good at sewing. I just love to play around with it. And that's all I was doing with this. So I just made this little purse thing with this clasp that I had, and I just stitched the fabric on to the clasp, and then you know, ran stitches down the side and made this. And in my mind, it has like a primitive look, and I always use that as my excuse for not being able to sew good. I call it primitive. So yeah, it's actually just that I'm not good at sewing, but it's cute. And in my mind, I would personally, I'm probably going to make myself another one. I feel certain I'm going to, because in my mind, I want to lay this on my counter. I'm the world's worst about when we go anywhere, I'm constantly, my eyes are on the ground all the time, picking up leaves, rocks, sticks. If I see like a little rusty washer, I'll pick that up, anything at all. But then I come home and empty my pockets, and this stuff just kind of lays in this little pile on my counter on my island. So I would love to have something like this laying there that I can drop the stuff in, the tiny stuff, and then go put it in my craft room later on. So yeah, there's that. And what I put in here is so cute to me. It is this little teddy bear head, and I love it. And I have a little number of these. I think I might have some posted in my Etsy. If I don't, I should. If you're interested in some of these, let me know. I'll do up some kits or something. But anyway, I put that in there. It would be precious with this being like an eclectic style. If somebody buys it, they could attach it as a tab. They could attach it towards an edge so that it shows when the journal is closed. Or just put it in a different book, or do whatever. Leave it right there in the pouch. It's just precious to me. I did attach the pouch at an angle so that the clasp shows from the outside of the book, almost like a page tab. I love tabs. I'm all about tabs. And then this is vintage upholstery fabric that I bought at an antique shop. I bought the whole roll, and I love it. It is a little bit fragile, like it'll rip kind of easy, but not real bad. The front of it is like this bright kind of a yellow or an orange striped style, and yeah, it's I like the reverse of it. The reverse of it's more dull in tone. You'll see that where I made the hole, I used a rusty washer to help secure that and to hide the little frayed edges of the fabric there. So yeah, I ran a shoestring through that because the shoestrings have this bound end that makes it, it's like a reinforced end that makes it easy to put it through something and tie it off. So you just feed the shoestring through these little openings on the side of the clasp like that, and then tie it in. And I'm trying to remember if I'm leaving anything out. I've messed myself up when my phone powered off, because now I don't remember if I'm leaving anything out, because in my mind I've already said it all. Okay, and then you just push that all back down in there and clamp it closed. More of the upholstery fabric on the flip side of that, and it's the green, and it's pretty little tassels. This is the other side of that page with the keys on it, and I put this little pretty trim coming down the edge of it. And this is lined paper, and some more of that grungy paper with the pretty writing and stuff on it, and it looks like a postal stamp there. And then this is some paper. I think I got this from Dee over at the Paper Drawer. And I just had this pretty little, again, this is where I just was going through and adding everything that I could that was laying there left over when I was done. So I just put this pretty little piece of stuff through that hole. And then this is another grungy piece. It can be sanded down to make it smoother if you're wanting to do artwork on it, or you can add collage, and that's just helping to layer the look. It's kind of a little base I put on it. This side I did a piece of an envelope, and funny thing is, this is a card that Pam had sent me. I was just talking about Pam. She had sent me a card. I think it might have been a Christmas card, but when I was going through and cleaning my desk, I came across the envelope that at some point I had held on to. So I just kind of tore the envelope down and attached it here on this page like that. I just thought it was cool. The other side of that placemat or doily. And then here I stitched in this white bag. I do this a lot with my journals because I love the look of the handle showing. And I do line the inside of the bags. I pretty much deconstruct the bag and line it with fabric, and then I reconstruct the bag. And, you know, I'll stitch down the edges right here to make another pocket. And then I like to leave this so that you can do like a little journaling or sketch or something there that doesn't show immediately if somebody happens to be looking through. So it's almost like a little hidden spot. And then, again, that's lined on the inside. I put these little pieces of, like this is a time card and some little checks. And this is a piece of like eco dye paper. You can see the leaves. And I put this stuff in here that can be tabbed in on some of the pages just to help somebody out in case someone purchases it. Oh, and I ran this pretty trim down the side. It almost looks like embroidered trim, and I liked it. And let's see, here is some pretty fabric that I've reinforced the fold here and just put a piece of a remnant of fabric that was laying on my desk in there when I tied it off. And hanging from that is a zipper pull. And then inside of this side of the bag, I have put this little spiral notebook. The spiral notebook is about 4 by 6. I did not grunge it up because I like the way this metal looks sticking out the side. And that's pretty much all that shows. And I figured that way, if anybody does want to take this somewhere and do artwork and stuff in it, it's not broken down from being wet and grunged up. So that's a little spiral notebook. It's about 30 pages in here of just blank paper. On the bottom, I kind of ran this little charm up. I think these are so pretty. They look like they're embroidered little pieces of trim that's been pinched onto a little ribbon crimp. And that can be taken back off very easily. I just kind of wrapped it through that first spiral. It can be taken back off and hung anywhere on the journal. I just chose to put it there, and the person, if anyone gets it, can make their own choices. In between the signature, the fabric showing, and there's a grungy piece of paper. Again, I'm going to call this graph paper, and I attached 2 pieces of this paper that has tabs on it. I attached it on here, but I did 2 of them to make it more sturdy. And then I just attached it with some tape on each side. And here's that other card that is like a Hummel card. And I did the same thing with it. I made a belly band out of an envelope that I opened up and hinged in. I think if I remember correctly, it's hinged to the other side, I think. Can't remember right now. But I hinged this envelope in and made a belly band. And there's some painted craft paper there. And here is the card. So cute. Love it. There's the back of the card. And these, I don't know what year they're from, but I can tell that they're not new. I'm guessing vintage. And again, I slid her in just enough so that she still shows, but yet that little tab shows on the envelope. And then I used one of the rusty bulldog clips to attach it in. You can hang charms from these rusty bulldog clips if you don't close them, or even if you do close them down, you can still hang a charm from it. But take the opportunity to add stuff to your journals. It's just personality. This was just some more stuff I kind of attached there that was laying on my desk. And the other side of that book page, this is a piece of a cover of a book. It wasn't any of the ones I used here, but I just liked it in here. And then I made the little belly band using one of the button cards here to create that little belly band. And I just tucked that in there like that. And then this is one of the pages where I went through and just picked up images. So that almost looks like a dogwood flower right there. But when I did the layering underneath the bottom and I used my Stabilo pencil, I then went through and just started trying to pick up images like a leaf and flowers, and I just went through and kind of did a sketch with what I was seeing out of the optical illusions of the watery down Stabilo pencils. This is a piece of tape, shipping tape, and I love the shipping tape. It has the coolest little messages on it, so I've got little pieces of it laying around. Up here is this pretty butterfly clip, and it's white with gold tones, and I just kind of clipped it on the top of the page because of the flowers and everything. I thought it was kind of cute to go there. And then the back of that page, it's mixed media paper, more mixed media paper. This is just some pretty trim. I put down the edge. Again, I like the way that looks from the outside of the journal. And I put this pretty, blue little rosebuds that you saw earlier in the journal there. That's where one of the pom-poms hang out. And then up here is a cross that hangs out of the journal. Mixed media paper. This is some more of that upholstery trim. Oh, my staple. I was supposed to say what's going on there. My staple got snagged up on that little stitch. upholstery trim there, and then the other side of the mixed media paper. This is the metal bird I talked about earlier, and I attached it like a little flip onto one of the little photo frame pages out of an antique photo book. And inside of that, I guess it shows, let me hold it up, there is string. I put a lot of string because in my mind, birds love to pick up that kind of little stuff and make nests, and I was putting this metal bird here. And so I put the string in there just to kind of make you think about the bird making a nest. This is some really cool upholstery fabric that I have. I had little tabs of it laying on my desk, so I just chose to use that with some of the rusty staples from Kathy at Rust Paper Scissors. Oh, I knocked it again, and that's all it took a while ago, and it turned the whole thing off. Okay, I hinged the other side with more fabric. And then this is the flip sides. Oh, there's that other piece of that envelope I was talking about earlier where I hinged it in and just did, that's the other side of the paper. I threw some watercolor flower paint on top of, I painted a little flower on top of the music paper there. And then the other part of some of that craft paper that's been painted on. And then the graph paper and this grungy paper. Woohoo, we made it. These buttons here are the reverse side of where I stitched the rope on here. And I just kind of covered it up on the reverse side by attaching buttons. All right, and because this is the front of the original book, the spine was torn off, so this edge was just real messed up. So I ran this trim with this gold tone. It's like a braided trim down this edge. And then on this side, I attached this canvas fabric stuff here just to kind of disguise that edge a little bit. And I did run a couple of stitches to attach them, so that kind of pulls it together so that you don't have to see the damaged side of the book. But I personally don't mind it if you do. Anyway, that's it, guys. We made it through the flip through. I'm sorry the video turned out so long. I hope everyone has a beautiful day. If you hung in there with me, thank you. If you liked the video, please hit the like button. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. I love you all. I hope you have a very blessed day. And get out there and let your light shine. And let me know if you have any questions. Love you guys.